Hokies! Hello, Hokies, and welcome to this week's Game Day preview. That's the GDP ahead of the Old Dominion Monarchs. I'm John Laser. He's Tech Hall of Famer Mike Burnup. And Mike, a lot of scuttlebutt this week around Blacksburg in this program about next week in a primetime matchup with what could be the top team in the country, Clemson. And that's why the message from Justin Fuente is, hey, Bobby Wilder's ODU Monarchs, a pretty solid football team, and we've got to have tunnel vision.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got to try to go 1-0 this week. I mean, that's the theme. It's been that way all along, and you can't take anybody for granted. You can't take anybody lightly. I mean, that's a team that's got good talent. They got good skill people. They broke in a quarterback that's a 17-year-old kid last week and played well against Carolina. And you think about what Bobby Wilder has done down there. He's done a magnificent job building that program from scratch. And he's had one losing season, Lays. That was, I think, in 2015. He went 5-7, and they followed that up last year. And they won their bowl game. They went 10-3 or something last year. And it was the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl. You put those two words together, they're two of my favorite words, Popeyes and Bahama. But they're a good team. You can't take them lightly. And it's the last non-conference game, and you want to get all the wrinkles out because conference play the rest of the way, and you got to be hitting on all cylinders.
Let's focus a little more in on the Monarchs before we get back to the Hokies and what they'll try to accomplish this Saturday. You mentioned the quarterback, 17-year-old Steve Williams, comes in relief against North Carolina in a lopsided loss for ODU, but seizes that starting job. And in the words of Coach Fuente on film, that's when the Monarchs offense came alive.
Yeah, dynamic athlete. He was slinging it all over the yard. He was only 9 out of 20, but threw for 2 touchdown passes and didn't have any interceptions. Plus, he's got some decent wheels. Bud Foster likened him to A.J. Bush. We saw what A.J. was about last week against East Carolina. So I think he's a dynamic athlete, and he's got some playmakers around him. You think about it, the running back is also their leading receiver. So they got some good players. And, you know, the 757 is a fertile recruiting area, and they're getting a lot of those kids right out of that area.
Certainly a lot of in-program storylines, guys that have played against each other, with each other in high school. That includes Virginia Tech's Sean Savoy, who was a receiver for Mr. Williams, the ODU quarterback. ODU's defense, meanwhile, leading the country in sacks with 16 coming in. Mike, this is a Tech offense that got humming against East Carolina. How do they continue with that momentum heading into conference play?
Well, I think when they were able to mix up the run and pass, they did a great job. They got more movement on the offensive line against the ECU than they had in the previous games, although I thought they played well against West Virginia. So when you keep the other team off balance and you dominate like they did in that first half, it kind of wore them down in the second half. And then they went on just that roll where they scored on like 9 straight possessions. So you got to love the way the offense is humming along. Josh Jackson has just been phenomenal, Lays. Think about the 5 touchdown passes he had. The offense in general has only turned it over 1 time. That has been absolutely huge and will continue to be moving forward in the ACC play. So they're playing well right now. Got to take care of business this weekend and then worry about the rest of the season, all ACC play the rest of the way. But right now they're playing well.
Hokies and Monarchs for the first time ever. Rare start time, 2 p.m. at Lane Stadium. Mikey and I hit the airwaves across the Virginia Tech IMG Sports Network at 12:30. That has been your GDP. Hokies!